Hello, hello, hello. Today we're covering the premium tier 9 Japanese destroyer, the Minegumo. Along with the Jupiter 42, the Minegumo is available during the Battle of the Java Sea event for 190 Java tokens. Along with the Jupiter 42, which is available for 90 Java tokens, which I have a video on as well, so if you want to check that out, you can also check that over on my YouTube page. Now, in addition, you can get the Minegumos available for random bundles, for cash, and doubloons, or you can just buy the ship straight up. So, this is one of the first times in a while that they've had a premium option where you can get it from the event, from bundles, and you can just buy the ship straight up. So it's really nice they finally added it to where you can actually just buy the ship and not have to get it from a stupid bundle or something else. So very good change there for wargaming. Very plus. I'll be going over the ship's characteristics, followed by how she plays and what I think of her overall. As you can tell from the hull, it's pretty much exactly the same as an Asashio, which is going to have typical poor durability as other DDs. One thing that this ship does to an advantage for at tier 9, as we know, the Jaeger is a very popular tier 9 DD at this point, but at least like the Jaeger and the ship both share the 5.4 kilometer concealment. So people say, oh, would you rather get a Jaeger or this? Well, this particular ship, the guns are actually quite decent. It doesn't mean you're going to be able to beat any of the strong gunboats, say a Mogador or a Z. It's a C42. Yeah, it should be no, sorry, Z46. Sorry, there's so many different German Z destroyers. It's really hard to remember. No, it's a Z46, the one with the funny button with the really good AP and good HE, smoke as well. What else is there? The Friesling, Groningen are also really strong gunboats there. Yeah, you're not going to beat those, but if you're finding like a regular, say like a Torport for the tier, like of course you'll beat a Jaeger. It's gonna be pretty obvious you can beat that with these guns. The HE on this thing is very strong since it does have the Japanese destroyer HE, which is very strong for the destroyer lines overall. You do get 2 torpedo choices, which you can switch between in the middle of battle. First, you get the 15 kilometer torps, which are slow and easy to detect, and you'll probably use this 95% of the time when you're doing longer engagements, or if you have just ships that are going away from you. Now, the other option is a 6.5 kilometer torpedoes, which are fast and difficult to dodge, but they have practically no range. As I said before, they're 6.5 kilometers. Now, this is mostly used for if ships are pushing into you and you're at very close distances. And of course, they don't have radar to be able to spot you that close. It's pretty much meant for cruisers without radar, battleships without radar. Pretty much nothing that can spot you unless they have some kind of hydro or something that can catch you if you're letting them to get that close, pretty much. Now, these particular torpedoes are faster reloading than other Japanese destroyers, and they also hit just as hard, because anybody that's been playing this game knows that Japanese have the hardest hitting torpedoes in the game, except for the St. Vincent torpedoes, the nuclear torpedoes, the wobbly books of torpedoes, those wiggly things. Those things hit like a monster. Other than that, though, Japanese have the strongest torpedoes in the game, and they always hit like a punch. They're just knockout. They hurt so bad. Moving on from the torpedoes, let's talk about the anti-air. There is none. So, great topic. No anti-air. All right, moving on from there. You do get decent depth charges, though, which is really nice. You do have to get close, of course, to deal damage, but the speed also affects it because this ship isn't the quickest. You do get a speed boost, though, which is nice. But other than that, this is a slow DD over the tier 9s. It is slow for a DD, but you do get nice maneuverability, which makes up for the slow speed. Just makes you have to be more careful in your engagements. If you have, say, faster cruisers coming after you or faster battleships, you want to keep more distance away, because a lot of times if there's like a faster battleship coming out, like a Georgia, what else is there, like a Marseille, St. Vincent. I was trying to do tier 9, like tier 9 examples, but I can't think of any at the moment. If you guys could let me know what examples you think I could come up with that are like really fast tier 9 battleships and cruisers, definitely let me know down in the comments. Yeah, you gotta be careful of those coming at you for sure. Now this ship does come with smoke and a speed boost. It does not have a torp reload booster, unlike other Japanese destroyers at the tier. But this thing already has really quick reloading torps, so I do not think it needs torpedo reload booster. So I think this ship does great as a torpedo boat already, and it doesn't need a torpedo booster. So I'm happy with it just having a smoke and a speed booster. For the Minegumo is pretty much your typical Japanese torpedo destroyer. You get amazing concealment, powerful torpedoes, and 0 anti-air. It's pretty much the perfect combo for Japanese torpedo boats in general. While you can switch between the two torpedo types, in practice, you will almost always be using the 15-kilometer torps. The reasons why are, they're very safe, easy to use, but don't expect that many hits. The 6.5 kilometer torpedo option is way more accurate, but only viable when completely bottom tiered and against yellowing ships. So for instance, say you're on the losing flank of your side, where most of your ships have been knocked out on the flank and you're forced to kiting away and just keeping the enemy spotted. When they're pushing towards you, that is when you want to use these torpedoes. The 6.5s will wreak havoc on enemies that are just shoving it into you. Now, when they turn away or they're starting to head toward the middle there, they can switch to 15 kilometers and then use those there to make sure you still get hits. But the 6.5s are perfect for when you're dealing with a pushing flank, when you're dealing with a cutting flank, you use the 15 kilometers instead. Now, you definitely don't want to underestimate your capabilities against other DDs. You can now spot almost everything by a very comfortable margin. There aren't that many Ds at tier 9 and below that have a 5.4 concealment, or even above at the tier 10 or super. There is very few DDs with a 5.4 concealment, so you can definitely use that advantage to be able to perma spot them, let your team hit them, and you can also use the gun sparingly against other DDs, where you can pop your guns, smoke up as you're turning out, get nice good shots in, you go bop bop bop, and you play your cards right, you can kill the other DD and secure the spotting advantage for your team, which is a huge plus. I do love playing ships that can be both a gunboat and a torpedo boat. It's both fun. Overall, I think the Minegumo is it's mediocre to average, but at least it's easy to play, right? If you want to get this ship, I'd say just play the Yugumo. It's equal or superior almost all aspects while being free to play. It's a great tier 9 crew trainer as well. You can use it if you don't have a tier 9 Japanese premium ship to grind your crew on. Like, say you want to train the Yamamoto, you can train the Moto on the tier 9 for that. But a lot of people already have tier 9 premium ships to be able to grind their captains on for the Yamamoto at this point, because you do have the Awami coal ship. You can get that as a crew trainer as well, so you can do that. But other than that, let's do an IRL facts. So IRL, the Minegumo was the 8th of the 10 Asashi class destroyers, having been commissioned in 1938. In February 27th, 1942, she took part in the Battle of the Java Sea, where she engaged the British destroyer Encounter and unsuccessfully attacked the US sub USS Perch. Ultimately, the Minegumo will be sunk at the Battle of the Blockade Straits in 1943. And there's a historical fact of the Minegumo. Now, overall, I'd say that the Torpster is definitely superior and better balanced between the range detectability. So, very nice for that. But anyway, let's go. I'm going to now switch over to the build side. So, I'll be talking about the build. And if you guys have any questions about the build and such, leave them down in the comments. But we're going to go switch over and look at the build real quick. Let's look over the build real quick for the Minegumo. For the equipment, I go with main armament, of course. Then I go with propulsion, the engine boost propulsion, which makes it where you have a 30% longer consumable time, which makes it where you get from about 120 seconds to 156 seconds. Pretty nice in giving your ship a little bit longer, higher speed. In the third slot, I go with torpedo tube modification, so that I get faster torpedoes. Really nice if you're trying to get that nice little torpedo boat on the Minegumo, which is pretty necessary. If you want to go more gunboaty, you could, but I just say it's better just to build into the torpedoes, since the torpedoes are pretty good on this ship. Then the next slot will be propulsion or steering modifications. Since this ship already has nice maneuverability, with the new ability being 3.6 seconds, it doesn't have the highest top speed, so it's definitely best just to build the propulsion speed right here. In the fifth slot, I would definitely say go with concealment. You want to get to that 5.4 concealment. I know it says 6 right here, but I left the commander reset so I can go over the build with you guys. But when you build it all the way, it goes to 5.4, which is very, very, very important. Now, depending upon your personal preference for being more of a gunboat or more of a torpedo boat or more of jack of all trade, this one's more of a personal preference. You can either pick torpedo tubes so you have a faster reload, or you can pick the main armament and have a faster reload for your guns. That one's up to you guys. You guys can pick that. So that was more of a personal choice on your guys' end. For the Minegumo build right here, I go with the first one being preventative maintenance. Then I would do last stand, then survivability expert. This is your 6-point build right here. When you have a 10-point commander, then you would go with concealment right here. Now, you can either go with RPF to be able to know where enemy destroyers are at, so you can help kind of locate them with your team. Or if you're trying to be just quicker and not really engage with other DDs and just use your concealment to your advantage, you would go with swift and silence instead. So if you're going more of a gunboaty, like you want to do a little bit more hunting with the DDs a little bit more, you could pick RPF instead or radio location instead. But if you're trying to be more stealthy and rely more on torps, then you can use swift and silence instead. Me personally, I like being able to use my guns a little bit more, so I'll use radio location. So this is for your 14-point commander. The next one would be adrenaline rush. This will be for your 17-point commander right here. And then after that, you would build into either, if you're doing more of a gunboat, you would do the main battery one right here, so you're able to get a quicker reload for your guns. If you're doing more of a torpedo boat line, more torpedo boaty, you would then do fill the tubes instead. Whichever choice you would pick, I like doing more gunboaty, so I would personally pick a main battery gun right here. And then the last pick would be grease the gears. Pretty much all Japanese turrets are really slow, so you definitely want to build into that turret diverse. All Japanese torpedo boats have very bad turret diverse, so you always want to build and grease the gears. But this is your 21-point commander build right here. I'll go over it again just in case. This is your 10-point commander build right here. If you're going more for torpedo boats, this is how you would build it right here. If you're doing more of a gunboat, you would do RPF, adrenaline rush, BFT is what this used to be called, and then grease the gears like this. So that is the build recommendation I would do for the Minegumo. If you guys have any questions or concerns, let me definitely know in the comments down below. This is Overall Bo, and I'll talk to y'all later.